Zetsubou no Shima gets some of probably the worst flack out of all the zombies maps within Black Ops 3. Of the maps from Shadows of Evil to Giants, Horizon Drag, Zetsubou, Grod Krovi, Revelations, and now Zombies Chronicles, Zetsubou still is probably at the bottom of the list for a good many people. Personally, I didn't think that I had too big of problems with it, but I do recognize where some people just did not enjoy the map in its entirety. Additionally, there were a lot of bugs that plagued the map whenever it was first released, and even a little bit thereafter. I remember I even got to the front page of the COD Zombies subreddit, posting a video of where I went to go get the Skull of Nansopway, and as soon as I went to touch it, I just downed and the game ended, though despite having quick revive, jug, everything, and no zombies being around me, it was just one of those things that happened. While I'm not trying to take a big old dump here on Zetsubou no Shima, I'm actually going to be doing something in which I want to tell you one thing that you might not know about the development of Zetsubou no Shima that may take some of this ill will and dissatisfaction and maybe turn it around, and hopefully at least it will give you a little bit of perspective, and maybe you'll gain a little bit more respect for the map whenever we discuss here what this one thing is. That being that Zetsubou was almost essentially scrapped and rebuilt from the ground up in a very short period of time to make sure that the map itself could be playing at its best capabilities, and so that moving forward there wouldn't have to be any major changes done to Black Ops 3 to finish out the content season. So going through once again just watching all these interviews, because I love listening to the kind of things that we never really hear about but maybe come to the surface a little bit later. While watching some of the interviews of Jason Blundell, I believe it was Rad Austin's video, in which they talked a little bit about some of the bugs and the fixes that they would go through, and the whole topic of Zetsubou kind of being plagued with bugs and not being the community's favorites was something that popped up within this interview, in which Jason Blundell gave some clarity as to the development of the map and stated that the task in which the engineering department and the scripting departments embarked on was something more of rather than a complete overhaul, to the sense of where you step out, say, for a day or two, whereas you go and maybe go on a little trip. And the way that he put it is that if you're talking with the person building your house, they say, don't worry, just go out for a couple of days, and when you come back, everything will be completely changed around. We're gonna build it from the ground up again, but everything will also visually look just how you remember it. So to what level, we don't exactly know just what sorts of things were redone, but on a basic level of the coding building blocks of Zetsubou, the map was completely redone after it was already completed essentially in the development process, and so they went back and redid everything here in a sense that it would work out more fluently for what was coming up at the later points in times for later content packs, that being Grod Krovi, as well as then Revelations. Zombies Chronicles was not planned this early on into the development of the maps. That came a little bit later, so this might not have been on the forefront of their mind in that sense, but what's awesome to me is that it's just such an overhaul in terms of what you have to do to make the game playable, and while it was already maybe passable, it was something that they were like, we're gonna have to do it at some point in time, so why not just do it now? Let's take what we have. It's already complete, sure, which is a bummer that we have to pretty much redo the thing in the entirety, but we gotta do it at some point, so why not just do it now? We have the time. Let's take this all into consideration. Let's make sure everything works out, and then we won't have any problems moving forward. So, of course, this unnamed obstacle in terms of the basic coding building blocks of the maps and the features and the mechanics within Black Ops 3 Zombies, of course, this was to be something that would come up at a later point in time, but with Zetsubou, something that may not have gotten the best rap in the community, this gives a little bit of an explanation as to why some of the things that maybe wouldn't have slipped through before did slip through the cracks. But while also saying that, it's safe to assume that this fixed a number of things that may have been an issue that we never even saw. So with that said, it's kind of a little trade-off in terms of, do you want something that is more fluent in the long run as a product, or do you just kind of want to get it done? Which, it's great to see that this extra time, this extra effort was put in to, once again, once a project's done, go back and completely scrap it and then rebuild it from the ground up in a very limited time frame compared to what they had previously to finish the map. So when it all comes down to it, maybe this is an explanation for some of the bugs that did slip through the cracks, but I think more than anything, it's a testament to how hardworking the Treyarch development team is and how much they genuinely care about the Zombies game mode and what they're willing to do to provide the absolute best experience to the fans that they possibly can. So while Zetsubou may not have gotten the best rap, it's something that definitely got some of the most attention out of Black Ops 3, and it's some of the attention that goes completely unnoticed that you or I may never have known about before this interview with Jason Blundell, that gives us a little bit of a looking glass and some clarity as to the developments of Zetsubou and just how much time was spent to maybe not necessarily make this map perfect, but to make the rest of the gameplay experience overall a little bit more perfect. And I think that definitely shows. Grodd Krovi and Revelations were absolutely fantastic, at least in my opinion, and then Zombies Chronicles now is fantastic as well. So if that means that dropping one map down slightly in terms of the fan favorite category or the overall feeling of the map, I'm okay with that. I think that this work is definitely not in vain, and it's something that, while Zetsubou may not be the worst map, it's something that definitely set up something that I think as fans we could all be proud of the products afterwards. So huge testament and shout out to the engineering and scripting crew doing their job not once, but twice over for this one map that sets up perhaps a much better gameplay experience than we may have had at a later point in time. So I've always respected the developers. I think that it's a job that I could never certainly do, and the craft is absolutely fascinating. So hats off to them once again for taking the extra mile, doing their job twice over to make sure that we have the best gameplay experience. But that's gonna wrap it up. I just want to let you guys know about this because I found that absolutely fascinating. I thought it was something very cool, and I want to share it with you guys because, once again, this might be just something that is completely overlooked and not many people may end up knowing either now or maybe even ever. So it's cool to have this perspective given to us by Jason Blundell in this interview. But that said, drop your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Are you guys impressed that they did this job not once but twice to make sure that it was perfected going forward in the content season for Black Ops 3, or do you not necessarily care? Whatever it may be, feel free to drop it down there in the comment section down below. But all that said and out of the way, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything we have here regarding Zombies Chronicles, zombies in general, Black Ops 3 multiplayer, Call of Duty World War II, Modern Warfare Mastered, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. I practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. My name is Nikolai Espresso. Take care and peace.